Welcome back to the second day of presentations by our finalist students here at the 2014 Innovation Summit, brought to you by Lockheed Martin and the Conrad Foundation. I am Carrie Taylor, and I am the Education and Outreach Director for the Conrad Foundation. For those of you who are watching from home, please hashtag SOIC14 and let us know what key highlights and takeaways you are finding from our students' presentations. We would love to know what you think about the innovations that they are coming forward with. So, today we start with our energy and environment category. Thoughtful design with the intent to protect and enhance resources available here on Earth is a key differentiator between an inventor and an innovator. Inspired to be conscientious entrepreneurs, this year's finalists developed a unique industrial tubing for cleaner processing of liquid food products, a piezoelectric generator that stores energy created by the wearer, a water collection product that provides clean water with minimal environmental impact, a new maintenance-free planter that supports large-scale planting in remote locations, and an avant-garde oil cleaning process that increases efficiency and decreases collateral damage during cleaning. We have an outstanding panel of judges with us today. Please allow me to introduce Miriam Sargusing, a systems engineer and integration from NASA, Chuck Cadle, CEO of Destination Imagination, Radhe Mehta of Helios Entertainment, Chun Kao, Patent Development Director for Hewlett-Packard, and Matthew Baca, Senior Attorney, Intellectual Property Law at IBM. Thank you for coming and giving of your time and resources. So, this morning, our brave first presenters are Green Barriers from Cupertino High School in Cupertino, California. Please, the first one's always the hardest, so give them a very warm welcome to the stage. Got this, and here is your clicker.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out today. We're the Green Barriers team. I'm Amin, that's Rahul, and today we'll be presenting our product, the Hydro Bucket. So chances are you've seen some of the recent natural disasters that have struck the world. For example, the tsunami in Japan or the earthquake in Haiti. And these natural disasters certainly deserve our attention, but they only hold our attention because of the devastating impact they inflict on such a short period of time. And that is exactly why the phenomenon of desertification constantly eludes our attention. Desertification is a slow phenomenon in which a desert, such as the Sahara Desert in sub-Saharan Africa, encroaches upon fertile land and renders that land less suitable for farming. And this can wreak massive economic havoc on agricultural-based economies like those of sub-Saharan African nations. So the tolls of desertification are actually quite high. For example, 250,000 deaths in the past 40 years are associated with desertification and its effects, such as famines and droughts. Additionally, many experts believe that 1.7 million people will be displaced because of desertification. Lastly, 239 million people will be malnourished in 2010, largely due to desertification's effects on agriculture in that region. So, is there hope for these sub-Saharan African nations who wish to stop the spread of the Sahara? Well, recently, there has been a proposal called the Great Green Wall Project. And what the Great Green Wall Project aims to do is to construct a 14-kilometer thick, 6,000-kilometer wide wall of trees against the southward spread of the Sahara. And while this project has a lot of potential to mitigate a huge problem in the Sahara, countries have not been following through with this proposal, largely because of the daunting logistics of planting and maintaining so many trees on such a large scale. And that's why this amazing project has not come into fruition.
Now that's where our product, the Hydro Bucket, comes in. The Hydro Bucket is a self-contained system that allows trees and other forms of vegetation to grow in the harshest of environments. Now up here, you can see a 3D cross-section of our product. At the bottom are the root channels, while on top in the empty space is where the soil and other life-giving elements will be located. Now moving on to the basics of the Hydro Bucket. The Hydro Bucket, basically a tree sapling or any other form of vegetation will go inside the Hydro Bucket, and the Hydro Bucket will support this tree in its early stages of development. So one way it does this is using the root channels. The root channels force the roots towards the groundwater, which is under the surface of the desert. Once the roots reach the groundwater, the tree will become acclimated into its new environment. Also at this time is roughly when the container of the Hydro Bucket decomposes, which is roughly 2 to 3 years after planting it in the environment. And one of the crucial selling points of the Hydro Bucket is that it requires absolutely no maintenance. This will make our product a very lucrative option to the struggling sub-Saharan African nations. And the applications of our product include the Great Green Wall Project, as well as helping individuals in these regions grow their own food, because for so long they have been dependent on foreign aid. Now moving on to the container. The container itself is a starch-based bioplastic. We decided to go with starch because it's inexpensive as well as readily available. Also, starch is degradable as well as renewable, which made it a prime candidate for our choice of material. Now finally, moving on to the innovative technologies within the Hydro Bucket, the first of which are the hydrogels. Now hydrogels are super absorbent polymers that can absorb roughly 100 times their weight in water. Hydrogels also release this water slowly but steadily over time. And now we have a short demonstration prepared to show you the effectiveness of these hydrogels. So over there, Amin is holding a batch of hydrogels that are completely dry and have absorbed no water. Now on the other hand, on the table over there, you can see the same amount of hydrogels, except the only difference is that these hydrogels have absorbed water and have been submerged in water for roughly a day. Clearly, the massive difference in size shows that these hydrogels can absorb great amounts of water. This will make them very crucial to our product because they will be able to support the plant for a very long time. Now at this time, we'd also like to remind you that these hydrogels that we're using today are a commercial version of the product. And in the actual Hydro Bucket, we'll be using an industrialized version fit to match our specifications. The next innovative feature within the Hydro Bucket is the bacteria. We use a form of bacteria known as Sporoserina pasteurii, and this was pioneered by Magnus Larsson. He used this bacteria to make soil in sandy regions more suitable for the growth of plants. The actual bacteria itself will not only be restricted within the bucket. It will be allowed to spread out to a small area of land around the buckets, and will make this soil more conducive to the growth of other vegetation. And now finally, we have the root channels, which are located at the bottom of the Hydro Bucket. And the purpose of the root channels is to force the roots down to the groundwater, which is under the surface of the desert. Now, why does the world need the Hydro Bucket? Well, the first reason is the human element. Desertification is a huge environmental issue that affects an entire continent. With the help of the Hydro Bucket, we aim to stop this deadly phenomenon. Also, the Hydro Bucket aims to empower the individuals living in these regions by giving them the opportunity to grow their own food.
Additionally, there are distinctive monetary benefits. Every Hydro Bucket will cost less than $6, and therefore will provide these struggling sub-Saharan African nations with an inexpensive, practical, and proven-to-work method to stop the negative effects of desertification.
Furthermore, the Hydro Bucket will leave no environmental impact on its surroundings. The bucket itself will decompose in roughly 3 years, and the hydrogels and the bacteria will eventually perish.
And lastly, and most importantly, the Hydro Bucket represents a whole new level of aid. Monetary aid, which is the norm today, involves giving money to these African nations. However, this perpetuates a constant cycle of debt and cultivates a dependence on foreign aid. The Hydro Bucket takes a completely opposite approach. It allows individuals to grow their own food and thus empowers them and provides a great alternative for these struggling sub-Saharan African nations. And all these reasons demonstrate why the Hydro Bucket is so essential to the world today. Thank you.
That is amazing. I can kill pretty much any plant, but that might keep one alive for me. No, it's true. Okay, as they're clearing the stage, let us welcome to our next presenter is NCSSM CM from North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics from Durham, North Carolina.
Hello, I'm Matthias Horst, and I'm presenting the Water Wicker today. So, as we saw yesterday, providing clean water in space is a significant problem, but it's also a significant problem here on Earth. There are many regions that don't have access to clean water, and as we just saw, those regions are constantly expanding. 1 in 8 people does not have clean drinking water, and this is problematic because it means that each year, over 3 million people die because they don't have access to potable water. Diseases in the developed world, like diarrhea that can be easily treated, result in many deaths in other locations that are preventable. How can we solve this problem? There are many techniques that have been developed. Traditional distillation uses large amounts of power and relies upon a large infrastructure, but it can provide clean water. However, because of these constraints, for many people, it's not an option. Groundwater collection, such as wells, are another great place to start. But often, they're available only in conflict-ridden areas, and conflict begins to focus on these wells. Furthermore, they cannot provide a long-term solution because they begin to deplete aquifers if they are overused. To provide a better solution, we sought to mimic nature. Each morning in the Nahib Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, beetles line the tops of sand dunes. These beetles have evolved over many years to use a variety of techniques that allow them to better collect water. Their backs are coated with a chemical surface, which I'll discuss in greater depth later, but this encourages water to collect at certain small points on the back. They also have a very precise 3D architecture, which encourages further condensation at particular points. And the beetles, at least in the morning, are much colder than the surrounding desert air. And just as water condenses on a window pane at night, water condenses on the backs of these beetles. They tilt their backs upwards so that water runs down to their mouth, and they're able to collect it at this point. And this makes them great harvesters of water. This allows their species to continue surviving. And this is something that we hope to capitalize on to allow members of our species to survive. Amphipathic films are chemical surfaces that contain 2 different regions, some hydrophilic, some hydrophobic. This means that some regions push water away, and other regions pull water towards them. And this increases the concentration of water at some regions and results in condensation at these regions. We hope to use a chemical surface, which we'll discuss later in our private presentation, which will encourage this type of condensation. We also plan to use a second technology, which will allow us to decrease the heat at the top of our product. This will, in the same manner, allow us to collect water. So this is a basic diagram. The top of our product will be coated in this amphipathic film, and then a heat pipe will serve to exchange the temperature, colder in the ground in the morning, with the temperature at the surface of the product, so that we can provide a colder substrate on which water can collect. A collection device will channel water towards the bottom where people can collect it, just as the Nahib Desert beetle channels water towards its mouth. So our product will therefore have no electricity usage, and this is very significant in developing nations. Our product won't rely upon a complex infrastructure, and it won't have a large footprint. Other devices like water collection nets require a large surface area of the ground, and that takes away land that could be used to do other things like sustainable agriculture. And so because of these things, we feel that our product can advance water collection. However, we believe that a 2-phase rollout is necessary. In order to capitalize and have the capital to help people in other nations, we seek to gain capital from our own nation. We can use our product as a means of providing water to people who are watering plants every day and save them labor, and in this manner both gain technical expertise and develop our product for those who need it most. If you have questions, please contact us via the Conrad website. Thank you.
Amazing. Beetles. Who would have thought of that? It never would have occurred to me. Brilliant. So next to the stage, we have the Tube-tastic Trio from Watchung Hills Regional High School in Warren, New Jersey. Good luck. Flipper clicker is here. There you go.
Hi, we're the Tube-tastic Trio, and we're here to tell you about our new invention, Tube-tastic. I'm Chad, that's Brian, and this is Emily.
Have you ever wondered what those bumps on your teeth were? Have you ever looked at a wall and said, ew, what is that grime?
Or that slime on your shower floor.
That's biofilm. Biofilm is a collection of microbial cells that collects on the inside of a tube. It also secretes a protective coating that keeps it from being removed. Companies in the U.S. spend over $7 billion a year trying to remove biofilm from their pipes.
Biofilm is a public health issue. Every year, around 76 million people become ill due to foodborne illnesses, and among those 76 million people, around 5,000 die.
Our research shows that there are currently 3 predominant methods of removing biofilm. These include alkali-based methods and acid-based methods, which require a large amount of chemicals and therefore are costly. There's also physical removal, which is such a thing as high-pressured water. This can disperse bacteria over larger surface areas and cause more problems. There's also thermal treatment, which, although effective, can change the substance itself. The food will change due to the heat. All of these are treatment methods, meaning that companies have to shut down production in order to spend time and money cleaning their tubes.
Our product, Tube-tastic, is able to prevent the growth of biofilm buildup in these tubes. It doesn't kill biofilm that's already in these tubes. It prevents it from forming in the first place.
In addition, Tube-tastic can be easily sized up to any sort of system. Therefore, it can be incorporated into any manufacturing system that already exists.
We designed and built a prototype and then thoroughly tested it to make sure that it works.
So in order to make sure that our prototype actually worked, we had to construct an experiment and apply our technology to these tubes with bacteria in them, and then measure the amount of biofilm that was in them afterwards. So we did this by using a set of 3 tubes for 2 types of measurement methods. So within these 3 tubes, one of them was a negative control, which did not have any bacteria. One of them was a positive control, which had bacteria just freely growing. And the last tube used our Tube-tastic technology to treat this bacteria. The first type of measurement method we used was a gel that is usually used by dentists to stain biofilm. The second type of measurement we used was a dye method, in which the biofilm would absorb the dye, and then we measured the amount of dye that was absorbed, which is proportional to the amount of biofilm that is there. So as you can see in the graph on the right, the blue line shows the tubes that had the untreated E. coli. It had the most absorbed dye and therefore the highest amount of biofilm that was there. In the red line, which was our lowest reading, that was our tube with without any E. coli and therefore had the lowest reading. And then the green line, between the blue and the red, showed a 65% reduction as compared to the untreated E. coli. So in conclusion, our product works.
We've already filed a provisional patent on our idea. We plan on selling this to companies and manufacturers so they can make it a reality. But before we do this, we have to make our product even better. So we have to do more testing to optimize our prototype. We plan on hiring a private lab in order to do tests that comply with FDA standards to make sure our product is fully able to be sold.
And in order to further progress our project, there are a few things that we would like to do. So the first thing would be to test our technology on other bacteria types besides from E. coli, because biofilm is actually composed of a variety of different bacteria types, such as Listeria monocytogenes and Salmonella, which are common foodborne pathogens. We would also like to test our technology in other types of commonly consumed liquids, which is what our product is directed towards, such as apple cider, apple juice, orange juice, etc. And the last thing we would like to do is apply our technology in a pump flow system, and all of these things together essentially create a very realistic processing environment, which would give us even more better results. And we would also like to apply for a patent, and also lastly, make our current prototype more professional and cost efficient.
We're looking for funding from private organizations and foundations such as Conrad, and also the SBIR or a government grant organization that gives grants to small businesses for innovation and research.
Buy Tube-tastic today and keep biofilm away.
Absolutely charming. I love it. Okay, that was awesome. Keep biofilm away. All right, next to the stage, we are bringing Team Wasser from East Chapel Hill High School in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Oh, yes, that's what we, yes, thank you.
Is this forward?
That's forward, that's your mic, this is on. Do they need a minute to set up?
Just a minute, yeah.
Let's give them a moment just to get their prototype and demonstration materials set. I'm really thirsty, that looks kind of good.
You can take everything else in the bottle afterwards.
This is Texas, they love that Arizona tea. Trip on it, or are you going to need it? You have a plastic bag. I just don't want you to nervously have a trip and fall. Okay. Very well. Good luck.
Good morning. My name is Wintel. This is Caleb, and this is Jordan. We are Team Wasser from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Our product is a super oil sponge, or the SOS.
In this presentation, we will show you how our patentable SOS technology will dramatically revolutionize sorbents so that we can clean up big oil spills on water for the very first time. We will also show you how we're the only total solution for oil spills.
There is a huge need for our SOS technology in today's current sorbent market. Current sorbents are used to clean up oil spills, and they do come in various forms and sizes. However, they have a big fundamental design problem. The problem is that they are designed to act like a tissue. Like a tissue, if you try to absorb oil, you can only absorb a very small amount. And like a tissue, after you absorb the oil, you have to throw it away right after. No recovery of the oil absorbed, no reuse of the sorbent.
Today's sorbents are especially bad for large oil spills. Roll video. Roll video, please. When you're trying to clean up large oil spills on water, or in this case, an oil tanker spilling, current sorbents just can't do the job. They do not absorb enough oil, which means you will have to put out far too many with far too little impact. Also, under UV radiation from the sun, they quickly degrade, becoming an environmental hazard in a matter of hours. They become impossible to pick up and dispose, which makes the situation even worse.
As you just saw, traditional sorbents are woefully inadequate at cleaning up large oil spills, especially large oil spills on water. When we thought about what we could do to solve this problem, we didn't want to make an incrementally better tissue sorbent. In fact, we didn't want to be in the tissue sorbent business at all. We wanted to make something that was completely different, something that was completely revolutionary. And so we asked ourselves, why couldn't we create a sorbent that closely resembles a sponge? And that is how we got our product design and name, the Super Oil Sponge.
On the outside, the SOS may look like any of today's current sorbents, but in reality, it is a completely different product. Just like a sponge can absorb more water than a tissue, the SOS can absorb way more oil than current sorbents. Current sorbents can absorb around 20 times their weight in oil, but the SOS can absorb 200 times its weight in oil. This means, in terms of remediation performance, we are an order of magnitude better than any of today's sorbents.
Also, like a sponge, the SOS can be squeezed to recover the oil it had absorbed. This means for the first time, sorbents can actually recover oil, and this is a huge deal for companies because they get to reclaim the precious oil that had been spilled. Another key feature of our product is after you recover the oil, you can reuse it up to 10 or more times.
So why do these three key features, remediation performance, oil recovery, and reusability matter?
Well,
It's because large oil spills are terrible economic and environmental disasters. In the infamous 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill, hundreds of millions of gallons of crude oil was spilled into the Gulf of Mexico. Oil companies paid tens of billions of dollars in cleanup costs, and thousands of animal carcasses were retrieved from the ocean. Now, 2 weeks ago, just 15 miles from where we stand right now, a tanker ran aground in the Houston Channel, spilling 170,000 gallons of crude oil. This in turn paralyzed the channel for 5 days.
The big problem was the remediation methods. Currently, there are 4 remediation methods approved by the EPA. First, skimming. It does reclaim oil, however, it uses a costly technique to remove oil from the water and is still really inefficient. Second, burning does remove oil from the water, however, it releases toxic gases into the environment, damaging the ecosystem, and also basically cooks the ocean.
Third, chemical dispersants treat oil so it does not reach the shore. However, by turning the oil into toxic, carcinogenic sludge, it moves the pollution from above the water to below the water, where it cannot be removed. Lastly, for all the limitations mentioned previously, current sorbents are completely inadequate to deal with large oil spills. The SOS is a game changer in the sorbent industry. Economically, for every dollar spent on current sorbents, it will cost only a dime using the SOS only once. When you factor in the reusability, for every dollar spent on current sorbents, it will cost only a penny using the SOS. In addition, our product can recover the oil it absorbs, which saves even more money.
Ecologically, for every 100 pads sent to a landfill, only 10 SOS pads would be used, not factoring in reusability. When you do factor that in, that means for every 100 pads sent, only 1 SOS pad would be sent.
We are very excited about this SOS technology. We believe we have a compelling solution that will revolutionize the sorbent industry with its unparalleled absorption and industry-first features of oil recovery and reusability.
Plus, production and consumption of oil will not go away anytime soon. Neither will oil spills.
But by applying our product to large oil spills, especially large oil spills on water, it is our sincerest belief that we can truly make an impact on the world that we live in today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Great job. I'm so proud. It's reusable. I loved the visual aids. As we learned during our fireside chat yesterday, visual interpretation for learning is very helpful for younger people, and while I may be older, it really helped me as well. So, real quick before we move ahead, big round of applause. That was really wonderful. Thank you. All right, everybody. Last but not least, our first multi-state team, which met as participants in NASA's Inspire program, Team Cross Country from Hatboro Horsham High School, A.C. Reynolds High School, and Elizabeth High School from Horsham, Pennsylvania, Asheville, North Carolina, and Elizabeth, New Jersey, are coming to the stage. Please make them feel welcome. This is our last presentation for Energy and Environment, so let's make this fantastic. There you go. Do you need this? Okay.
Hello, everyone. We're Team Cross Country. My name is Abigail Radford, and I'm from Asheville, North Carolina.
My name is Jonathan Hernandez, and I'm from Elizabeth, New Jersey.
My name is Kate Denner, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
As you can see, we live across the East Coast, and a major challenge that we faced with this competition was finding a way to work together when you live several hundred miles away. We use tools such as Google Docs and Google Hangouts to virtually collaborate over the past several months and develop our very own product, the Walking Watt.
So let's talk about phones. The dying smartphone is a situation that we almost face every single day. It can happen in emergency situations, like when your car breaks down on the side of the road, or when your power goes out in your home during a storm or a natural disaster. It can also happen in times of inconvenience, like during a long day of school or work. Now, like me, and probably all of you here in this room, you bring your charger around you, but sometimes it's bulky and we don't have access to power outlets all the time. So, yeah.
Our solution is to make you the charger. Every day, as you go about your normal activities, you output loads of unutilized mechanical energy, which is just dissipated into the atmosphere as heat. Much of this energy comes while walking. With each impact of your foot into the ground, you're just wasting energy. We've created a set of insoles that harness this energy, convert it to electrical energy, and then use that to charge a battery. This battery is worn in a small pack that goes on a strap, and once the battery is charged, it can be used to recharge your smartphone or any device that charges via USB. Tablet computers, e-readers, cameras, handheld gaming devices, really anything. Here are the 3 different configurations. To make it useful with any kind of shoe possible, we've given you lots of options. You can wear the strap on your ankle, on the tongue of your shoe, or on the arch of your foot. You can even wear it with flats such as these. What you probably haven't noticed is that I've been wearing the product this entire time, minus the strap. We've designed it to be totally imperceptible to the user, having no negative effects on gait or on comfort level. You can very easily take it in and out of your shoe, and it doesn't require any kinds of alterations. We've truly designed it to just seamlessly fit into your lifestyle.
The Walking Watts is truly one of a kind. Currently, there are no direct competitors, but many scientists and engineers have worked on products with similar functions. Never before has a product like ours reached the market. However, you just saw our technology. We believe that we can take this product to the next level by taking it out of the lab and into the shoes of people like you.
According to Energy Star, energy consumption accredited to electronic devices has more than doubled since 1980 and is predicted to continue increasing. As you can see, there is a demand for the energy that our Walking Watts can harvest. There are 2 main types of people that can benefit from our innovative product. The first are hikers, campers, and plain outdoorsmen. These people travel long distances within a day because the typical trail can span for several miles. A smartphone is a hiker's key to communication, GPS and map services, music, and more, yet there are no power outlets in the wilderness. The Walking Watt gives hikers the convenience of a smartphone even in the great outdoors. The second type of person who can benefit from our product are pedestrian commuters. According to a 2011 census report, over 2.5 million people in New York City and Philadelphia commute. This proves that a lot of people in bigger cities walk to work. Additionally, college students who live on campus typically don't have a car, and they rely on walking as their main mode of transportation. Before their long work or school day has ended, these people may find themselves with a dead smartphone and even if in need of a charge from the Walking Watt. While outdoorsmen and pedestrian commuters are our main marketing focus, it's important to understand that anyone who can move may benefit from this product. We hope to eventually market the product to the general public. Initially, we plan on selling the Walking Watt primarily online. During the growing phase of the product, we will purchase raw materials at competitive prices and assemble the Walking Watt here in the US. Eventually, once consumer interest increases and the Walking Watt becomes popular, we hope to enter sales contracts with major stores that you shop at, including Walmart, Target, and Best Buy. We've already contacted Miss Ellen Yu of Corporate Verizon Wireless, and she thought the product was innovative. We also spoke to NASA education specialist Jim Gerard, and he said the idea was amazing. Just yesterday, we spoke with several NASA interns, and a representative of the NASA Wearables Department loved the idea. So far, our social media sites have been super successful. Our Twitter account @WeAreXC has already been retweeted by the Johnson Space Center, NASA Education, and even the astronaut Leland Melvin. We've received many compliments on our thorough website, wearexc.weebly.com, where you can find our short bios, product description, mission statement, and short commercial.
The Walking Watt can bring reliable, renewable energy to the average pedestrian. It can make you self-reliant for power and independent from the grid. It is the first marketable product to make you into the charger. We are Team Cross Country, energy with every step. Thank you for listening.
Good job. They should also perhaps consider giving those to event planners, because I think I have walked about 20 miles each day. I could probably power most of Space Center Houston at this point. So let's put our hands together again for Team Cross Country. I'd also like to thank again our judges who are going to be with the students again during their private sessions. Miriam Sargunsing, Chuck Cadle, Reve Mate, I'm sorry, Chung Kao, and Matthew Baca. At this, I am so... I'm so sorry, and Chris Stott. At this time, we are going to have our judges leave to go get set in their private judging session. You will be going to the club room. Our student teams will now be going to the astronaut gallery to do your photos. So please follow Miss Madison. At this point, we will take a short break to reset and get ready for our next category, which is health and nutrition.